Hi, I'm Lindsay. You can call me Lib Mosque. Today I'm doing a reading for Mercury retrograde. If you're curious how to look at your Mercury retrograde, see where Mercury is in your chart, but also see right now where Cancer is in your chart, because that will be heavily affected. So for example, my Cancer is in my 11th house. So this Mercury retrograde is supposed to be affecting my social groups, but if it's in your 7th house, it could be affecting your love life. If it's in your 2nd house, it's going to be, affecting money, finances, all of those things. 4th, 5th. You can also look at the houses on Google and kind of get what each house stands for. If you don't know how to read your natal chart. If you just don't know and you would like to learn, you can always leave a comment and I can just respond to you and say, it's going into your 3rd house or whatever, and I'll tell you how Mercury retrograde will be affecting your houses. But this reading is basically a tarot reading about how it will be affected, what you'll be learning, what will be tested. I just did this painting, so it's my backdrop today, and I hope you enjoy the reading. It is quite hot, so if I'm huffing and puffing, I'm sorry. I don't know how to fix that. I'm just in a very tired mood of breaking out. But I just had this feeling that I should be doing a reading on, what is happening in the stars, but also what is happening in your life because of the stars. So we'll start off with tarot cards, obviously Ryder, my normal, usual small deck, and then we'll go into the Sacred Rebels, which is this oracle. Actually my first oracle deck I ever got, so also Atlanta Fairchild like the other ones I do. So let's get into it. I will be doing the shuffling on camera, but I won't be you can't really see the cards like most readers, so if it's weird enough where I feel like I have to show it, I will. So first of all, okay, we got the 8 of Cups. First of all, we got the 8 of Cups. We got the 5 of Wands, the King of Cups. Oh my god, too many cards. I'm putting them back. Putting them back. Reshuffle. Make sure there's not an enemy. So it feels like there's some sort of situation you're leaving. Oh wow. Okay. And then the 7 of Swords. Okay. So it feels like there is some sort of emotional situation that you're leaving, right? And I don't think it's not that you aren't fulfilled in this situation. You're just not completely fulfilled. I think there's still something you want slightly more. And I think that this is based because there's a lot of internal conflict, external conflict, there's a lot of arguing back and forth. With this King of Cups, I do think that the person that is leaving the situation is kind of emotional reactive. They have a tendency to, overthink things, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Like the King of Cups can be in a good light if the other cards are kind of exaggerating it, but in this case it does feel like it's attached to this conflict, right? So with the 7 of Swords, be careful not to be sneaky in this situation, right? But I do think that you're moving in silence. I don't think you're really telling people what your plan is. And this doesn't have to be a relationship. I want to go more deep into that because this could be a workplace, right? Where your boss is emotionally reactive. You feel like there's conflict in the workplace. It could also be your family, your father who is an emotionally reactive place. Really, it could be any scenario that you feel like you're just not fulfilled in. Like you feel like you're making secret moves to leave and go into another situation. So I encourage you, if you're like, what situation could this be about? Look into your astrological chart, go into the house, and then see where this internal conflict could be. Like I said, if it's in your 7th house, this is most likely going to be a relationship. If this is your 11th house, it could be your social circle, your community, that you just feel like isn't fulfilling you in this moment. Okay. What is the universe's advice for you when you are leaving the situation? So I think the secrecy that you are keeping is a way to kind of protect you, but also I do feel like there's a bit of shame. So the Seven of Wands to me is more like feeling like you're kind of doing it a little bit manipulatively, right? And I hate that word because I don't think it's with ill intent in this situation, but maybe you're moving in silence because you feel like you don't want to let other people down. You feel like there's more to the situation, right? My orange cat is coming over, so if he passes by, it's just him. He's just being a little dork today. Okay, so what is the advice from the universe of what you should do next? Or your higher self? And I'm sorry to hear all the trucks. I live in a very noisy room. Sorry for the time skip. My cat knocked down the phone, but what I was going to say is be careful when talking to your spirit guides that you don't ignore your higher self in this situation, because I think that's where the best knowledge will come from. Your higher self isn't going to get sick of you. You know, sometimes we can overuse our spirit guides, we can overuse our ancestors. So just be careful about who you're calling your energy into. With the Three of Pentacles as advice, right? I do think that you need to lean on your friends. You need to lean on the collaborative, your collaborative community, right? They'll help you kind of guide you to leave the situation. They'll leave whatever you're going through. I think that you're not leaning on your support system. You're not collaborating with others to kind of get that, you know, more answers onto what is right, what you should do. Get some more. King of Pentacles. Definitely, I think you're sitting on a big amount of savings right now. Like, I don't think you're, and if you don't feel like you have a lot of money, right, there is some sort of stability that you're holding on to, right? You're kind of sitting nicely, you're sitting pretty, but it's okay for that to be wavering because you are going after something, right? So an example for this, if it's a career, maybe you're worried about leaving your career because you are just like, you want to save, you don't want to like dip into your savings. But this would be like, you're sitting too pretty on it, right? Like at the end of the day, money is money. And if you address this now, then the money will come back, right? If this is a relationship, maybe you live with the person, maybe, you know, you work with the person, whatever it may be. There is some sort of financials that are attached to this, right? My cat is looking at me over there like, so he's listening. Any more advice, universe? Okay, we got Ace of Cups in reverse and Judgment in reverse. So stop avoiding your emotions, stop avoiding what you want to do, stop avoiding your emotional situation right now. Right? If you're not happy, you're not happy. Even if, like, you know, even if you're slightly comfortable, you need to move out of your comfort zone, right? Because I do think right now the universe is giving you the choice, right? The Judgment. The universe is giving you a choice to avoid it. But soon enough, it will be Judgment, and the universe will call, you know, and do it for you. And then it's going to be way more of a tower moment than if you just kind of work through it now. Let's see, is there a better reason why you're keeping it silent? And also in this deck, I do notice it's flipped upon, so let's see what it is. The Hangman in reverse. So I do think you have this like knowing that you will eventually do it, right? There's knowing that one day I'm going to leave my job, one day I'm going to leave my relationship, one day I'm going to leave this toxic friend group. Right now you're in suspension, and like, what's bad about this suspension is that, you know, there's no action attached to it, right? Like we can't just expect the universe to work around us and do all these things for us. I do think it has some sort of action that is attached to it. So you need to take action. You need to take action of whatever situation you're going through, okay? And then finally, let's get one more about, I'm going to put these cards back into my deck. And then we'll get an oracle. Let's get one more about, so we did advice. Let's get one more about any just any other things that they want to let me know, okay? I don't know what question to ask, so we'll just go into that, okay? Knight of Wands and King of Swords in reverse. So lean into your emotions. Stop relying on your logical point of view, right? I think you're so stuck in your logic that you're not actually thinking about it logically, right? I think you're taking all of these things that could go wrong. Well, you kind of need to make that impulsive move. You need to make that impulsive decision, right? With the Knight of Wands, which this is my original deck from my first deck I ever got. So it's really old. So I actually lost a couple of cards. So I use this for the Knight of Wands now. But so the Knight of Wands, you need to move impulsively. You need to take action. You need to move fast. You need to go for adventure, right? The Knight of Wands is often seen as this playboy or energy that you don't want to see in a reading that attaches to this. So, but I think that this is almost advice, right? Right now that you are the King of Wands, but this is reversed. So stop relying on your logic. Stop worrying about everything can go wrong, and just take that impulsive step forward. Oh, I hear my cat using the litter box. Disgusting. So let's finally end it with the Sacred Rebels Oracle and see what the Oracle card would like to say to you. I'm going to read straight from the book. I might paraphrase it a bit because I hate reading out loud, as I am a little bit, I have a little bit of a hard time processing speaking out loud. But I do love this deck. I could give you a fast thing about it, but I just love the way Elena talks about it and walks you through it. Oh, too many. I'll put those back because I didn't even start shuffling yet. Alright, one card, please. Okay, that was 4 cards. We're putting them back in. 1 card, please. I have a hard time shuffling. I know I'm not the best shuffler. I just kind of pray that it works. So, 1 card, please. Okay, look at that. That was awesome. Softly, softly with a tender touch. So I'm going to show this on camera. Look how beautiful this card is. It's just got this angelic, sadness and happiness to it. And I think this card is going to really, it's just a perfect meaning for what this whole reading was about. So the feminine wisdom of gentleness can assist you now. When we are at a certain point in life where we want to attain greater things, but don't necessarily have the proportionally greater supply of energy at our disposal, it's time to work smarter rather than harder. This is the way of feminine wisdom. However, a cultural ignorance of the feminine way currently prevails. We are generally taught the more force we use, the more we try to make things happen, the more we will achieve. This is not about force, nor is it about diving, striving, or pushing. It says, it is about inviting what we wish for to come into the space we have provided for it. This method cultivates more energy, causes less stress. There's an old story that the sun and wind were debating about who was more powerful. And I love this reading, right? I love this little story right here. A man decides to walk down the street with a coat on. The wind and the sun decided that whoever could force the coat off the man was more powerful. The wind began demonstrating its impressive power by blowing and blowing stronger, pulling it and nearly ripping it out of the man. But the man wrapped his coat around himself more tightly to protect himself against the force of the wind. Eventually, perhaps temporarily out of puff, the wind gave up. The sun's turn was now on. The sun took over, he shone down, became brighter and brighter until the man slipped off his coat, slung it over his shoulder, and walked down the street, quite possibly wondering what was happening with the weather that day. The wind attempted to do by force what the sun was able to do by being. You are being asked to surrender your forcefulness, your determination, and your intense activity. You don't need to quite push so hard to receive what is naturally coming to you. So I think that's awesome, and especially hits with this logical thing I was talking about before, right? So I think you're thinking about all of the things that can go wrong, right? You're thinking about point A to point B. I need to get this all worked out, instead of just doing. And once you do, I think everything's gonna come, right? You don't have to force this. You don't This is your destiny, right? To have more. Of course, we can't just sit and do nothing and expect the universe to prevail for us. However, I will say we could sit and sit pretty and do very little, and the universe will provide for us, right? We want to assert our boundaries. We want to talk about what we really want, and just really like put into motion exactly what you do want. What do you want to look for? What type of like thing are you not satisfied with, right? What could satisfy you in this moment? So I'm gonna end the reading there. I do think that was about 20 minutes, so I think that's about right. My readings are always free. I don't even know if I could ever do the extended, like, charge people for money. I don't know yet, but I feel like that feels wrong for me as a reader. So the best you could do is like and comment below. If you have any questions, please leave a comment. I'm happy to respond. I'm happy for people just to watch my videos. So as a person, you know, outside of this, I am a counselor and I work in social work, so it just is nice to kind of like do something that for myself for once, and that's what tarot is for me. I've been practicing for so long. I've been practicing with my friends and around me, so I just hope that someone hears this message and it resonates with them. But thank you so much, and I'm so annoyed at all of these freaking cars and trucks behind me. I hope it doesn't make it too distracting in my reading. And if you're listening to me and not seeing my face or just listening, that's awesome. And I would love to just hear. Just please comment if you don't have to, but if you want to. Thank you so much for listening to me today, and I hope you have a wonderful day. And happy Mercury retrograde. I know this is a pretty intense one for a lot of people, and especially being in Cancer, be careful of old little things coming back. And remember that Mercury is a big test. If you're ruled by Mercury like I am, life is a test. So just give it all you can and work through it. Bye.